Hi everyone, it's Ellen March and this is So What with Sulky. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. I'm so excited about today's So What because I have a brand new thread to show you. And not only am I showing it to you, but you can actually buy it today. I'm so excited. All right, so I want to know how many of you out there have had issues sewing with metallic thread. Let me know. Who out there has had issues sewing with metallic thread? At Sulky, we have an original metallic thread, we have a hollow shimmer metallic thread, and we have a sliver metallic thread. All three of those threads are a little bit different, and they each present their own challenges, especially when you're doing high-speed sewing like for machine embroidery. That's why we have to slow our machine speed to almost the lowest setting. We have to use a special needle for metallics. We use an organ metal needle most of the time, depending on the fabric that you're pairing it with. And a lot of machines require you to have a horizontal spool pin. For those of you who don't know, your spool pin is this little guy up here that holds your thread. Some machines are going vertically. Some you can also adjust so that they go horizontal. But what is also important is that your spool pin actually goes this way so that your thread winds flat or facing your needle as you are threading your machine. And we have a great tool at sulky.com that helps with that if your machine doesn't do that. It's called the Thread Director. There's also the Thread Director 2 that will hold two spools of thread. So those are great options for working with particularly the flat metallic threads. The flat threads are hollow shimmer and sliver. Okay, you don't want those to twist as they're coming off of the spool headed for the needle, because that's what's going to cause a bunch of tension as you sew faster and as you sew for a longer period of time. So that is what causes thread breakage, is when there's so much tension built up on that thread from twisting on its way to the needle. So if you have a horizontal spool pin that's facing the needle, meaning instead of just going down this way, it actually turns and faces so that your thread rolls off flat, you're going to have a lot less tension on that thread as you're sewing. So those are some tips if you love using those threads. Now, the new thread I am about to show you, and I do want to mention that today's giveaway, for all of you who like the Sulky Facebook page and comment, share, give the thumbs up, give whatever emojis you like to give us. For those of you engaging with the post, I am putting together a little 6-pack goodie bag of the Polystar. All right, so this is the thread we're going to talk about today. Polystar comes in 52 different color combinations, I'm going to say, okay? Because not only do you get to pick the color of thread, but you also get to pick the color of metallic that runs through the thread. So you can choose a silver with a bluish metallic, or a blue with a goldish metallic, or a blue with a blackish metallic, okay? So there's lots of different color combination choices within those 52 colors. So I'm going to put together a 6-pack. That's going to be our giveaway today for those of you engaging with the post. And it'll just be a surprise whatever colors you get, and you will be one of the first that gets to try it. So, without further ado, let's talk about Polystar. Polystar, as you can see, comes on the favorite Sulky snap spool, making it really easy to store because the top of the spool actually pops up and that's where you store the end of your thread. And then you can just wind it and pop your little snap top down, and there you have it. So no more having all this thread and problems when you're storing in a box or a slimline container, things like that. Definitely make use of that. So at any rate, it comes on a snap spool, which is great, and it's a 30 weight thread. So Polystar, poly means it's polyester. The star is all the little metallic flecks that are wound around the polyester thread, okay? So this is going to be the easiest metallic thread for you to sew because your needle and your machine are going to be tricked into thinking that you're just sewing with a polyester thread. And it glides through the machine effortlessly, no problems with that twisting, no problems with that breakage. For those of you who have had troubles in the past, and despite all of your modifications to your machine and things of that nature, you still can't get metallics to work, go with the Polystar. Now, I love that it is a 30 weight. 30 weight is a little bit heavier, obviously, than your 40 weight rayon that you probably are used to using with machine embroidery. So it gives you a little bit more coverage when you are doing fill stitches. And even if you're using this for a running stitch design, or a built-in quilting motif design that's just straight stitches, you're going to have more of a pronounced look with this thread. And I'm seeing a lot of questions come in, and I'm going to address them in just a moment before I get to some really great projects that you can make with the Polystar. In the description for today's post is a link straight to the page where all the Polystar colors live, so you can check those out. And you're going to want to grab them all up, I'm telling you right now, because there are just such fun color combinations. Also in the description of today's post, I put in some recommended stabilizers, and that is not meant for every single project, of course, but it's meant for the projects I'm going to talk about today. Also, I referenced a size 90-14 top stitch needle for this thread. Now, just like with the stabilizers, that needle isn't going to be your all-purpose Polystar needle, okay? Some rules are still going to apply that go against using that needle. I'm recommending that needle for the projects that I'm going to show you today. And it's one of my favorite needles to use, especially for heavyweight fabrics, heavier weight fabrics, and I'm going to be talking about some of that shortly. So let me address some of the questions that have come in just regarding this thread, and then we will get to the project focus. All right, so lots of people say looking forward to trying it. I know you're going to love it. I do want to mention that earlier this year, was it this year? I have so lost track of time with all of this sheltering in place and things. It's like, what day is it and how is it the end of summer? Okay, so earlier at some point in time, we did a webinar on a hobo cork bag with our friends at Sally Tomato. I have the bag that we did in the webinar right here behind me, and we actually gave a sneak peek of that Polystar thread in with the webinar kit. So if you were lucky enough to get one of these kits and to attend this webinar, then you already got to play around with this thread. But at that time, we only had 2 colors of it. We only brought those in specifically as a sneak peek for our webinar registrants. It's one of the perks that you get for joining our webinars. And so we had this charcoal bag, and I did take a look. We also have, we ran out of the charcoal color, I know, but we have a cardinal color, which is a really nice deep red brick kind of cork. and it comes with the matching Polystar spool of thread. And I'm going to go through what that embroidery looks like here in a moment. But I did want to mention that the cardinal version of this kit, we have limited stock. Let me tell you, we've got 10, okay, 10 kits of that left. And it comes with your cork fabric, comes with all this hardware. Again, it comes with a spool of that Polystar thread. And most importantly, it comes with the pattern that you need for this bag. It's a really great bag that what I like about it is so many things, including the great tassel, but it almost, if you fill it with stuff, it stands up on its own. That's how structured it is. That cork gives it a really, really nice weight, and it's also interfaced with Sulky Fuse and Stitch Stabilizer. That stabilizer is used to really give it some nice body so that you have this bag that just holds up over time and has a nice structure to it. So I wanted to mention there are only 10 available of that kit, so grab it up while you can in that red color. It's just beautiful. So before I go into what that red color looks like and those embroidery tutorials, let me just address any other questions we have just about the thread. All right, lots of people saying they have definitely had problems with metallic thread in the past. And you know, I feel for you. There's a lot of adjustments that you need to do. You need to make sure you have the right needle. You need to slow your machine down. And you really need to just watch while your embroidery design is stitching out. And if you're not doing embroidery, you're doing top stitch or even quilting with metallic thread can have really pretty results. You need to really carefully watch the needle while you're sewing and make sure you don't have any twists of that thread. If you do, you need to stop, rethread, make sure it's going in flat if you're working with the hollow shimmer or the sliver, and just really take your time with it. Now with this thread, with the Polystar, I have been able to sew at a regular speed on my embroidery machine, meaning it's maybe not as fast as it would go, but I have tried as fast as it will go, and I had no breakage. I also experimented by using it in the bobbin. So I've done it both ways. It works great with Sulky bobbin thread, and if you're not going to see the wrong side, definitely use Sulky bobbin thread, which is on sale right now at 50% off. I digress. If you're not going to see the wrong side, just pair it with the bobbin thread. It works beautifully. If you are going to see the wrong side, for example, if you're quilting and going through all layers, use it in the bobbin. Then it will be sparkly on both sides, and it works great that way as well. Okay, so for those of you, Sharon says she's had a miserable time with most metallic threads. First off, I highly suggest try the Polystar. Also try the original Sulky Metallic. The original Sulky Metallic is a round thread, just like the Polystar, just like the polyester. It's a round thread, so that your chances of it twisting and causing built-up tension throughout your designs or throughout your sewing is very, very minimal. Okay. Flo says she has no issues yet because she's hesitated to try it. Well, I hope that today's So What gives you the confidence you need to try out some metallic thread, because it really adds some great fun to your projects. And again, what I like about it is it just has these flecks of metallic running through it, okay? So if you want a little bit more of a subtle sparkle, if you're doing some top stitching, I did top stitching on this tote back here. It's really hard to see this far away, but let me see if I can grab it. So this is a metallic cork, so I wanted to pair it with something metallic as well. And I used the Polystar for all the top stitching on the tote. Even up here, I paired it with a metallic linen. So even though this has so much metallic going on, it's not screaming in your face. It's very subtle. And then matched it with some nickel hardware. And it just complemented everything that was going on with this bag so well. So if you're using it for top stitching, I would just elongate your stitch ever so slightly, like a 3.0 or 3.5. I would do the same thing with quilting. You could certainly go smaller, but a longer stitch is you're just gonna have an easier time and it's gonna be a little bit more pronounced. All right. Lori says she could not use metallic thread until she got an Epic. So that is also the machine that I use. I have a Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2, and it tolerates all of Sulky metallic threads very, very well. So for those of you who have a different model machine, you're going to have to do some different modifications to ensure success. And we have a lot of tips for working with metallic thread on the Sulky blog. If you just go to blog.sulky.com and search metallic threads, you'll find a lot of great information from Sulky experts, from our friends in the industry who have contributed, because we really want you to have success with these threads. They are so fun to use. So I highly suggest using that as a reference if you're struggling with the metallic threads. All right, lots of people really want to try the Polystar. I'm so excited. All right, so a great thing to use your Polystar to give it a try is our free project right now. And we just launched it today. Our free project is this great embroidery design. So it's a mandala or mandala, I think mandala is how you say it. And it's this really pretty scroll work design. It's got little hearts and little leaves, and it's digitized for 30 weight thread. So it works great with the Polystar. This is just an extreme close-up so you can see how it really looks like shimmery, shining metallic thread. But really there's just those metallic flecks going through the thread. So right now on our free projects page at sulky.com, you will find the machine embroidery files that you need and download those and use the format that you need for your machine. And it's a pretty large scale design. Okay, I featured it on this holly bag. This is another Sally Tomato bag pattern. And I actually kind of gave you all a sneak peek of this project when I completed it because I was so excited about it. And you can see that thread just really gives a great impact to the bag. And again, I used that metallic flecked cork fabric and just a solid Kona cotton paired with it. And I also used the Polystar for all the finishing top stitches on the bag as well. So this is a great, great bag. It has a magnetic snap closure, and you can see I use the Polystar to add my little snap detail, and all the top stitching along the front of the cork was done in the Polystar. So this is one of my just go-to bags now. I absolutely love it. It's a really good size for carrying all of the stuff I accumulate from my children on a day-to-day basis. And I just added a cute little cork fob to it. I learned how to make these in our cork hobo bag webinar with Sally Tomato, which is available for free still on our webinar page. Jess from Sally Tomato has a great video tutorial of how these come together rather quickly. And so I just added that because I had a little bit of cork left over. And I think it just adds a cute little detail to the bag. So I have it just on a little clip so you can remove it and put it on a different bag if you want. But we have this pattern at sulky.com. It's the holly bag. I linked to it in the description of the post. It's a great bag for showcasing any kind of embroidery design. because how that cork kind of just, that front piece just frames that design so well. I just thought this is the perfect bag to showcase an embroidery design, whether it's a monogram or our free design that we're giving you. I do want to mention the design is only free for a limited time. So you have a month to download it. So you might as well just go get it now, put it in your embroidery design files folder on your computer, and then it is there ready and waiting for you when you are ready to use it. But at any rate, this bag pattern lends itself to a number of different design ideas. So just keep that in mind. Grab up the pattern, grab some Polystar, and really have fun with it. So I'll go over sort of the process that I use to embroider with the Polystar. Ooh, and by the way, I just wanted to show you. This is the whole line of Polystar. I know, I am like super lucky. So excited. So the things I will be creating in the weeks to come, I'm excited for y'all to see it. At any rate, I just want to show you some of these. So here's a black with a silver fleck. That's cool. Here's a purple with a black fleck. This would be really cool for something Halloween inspired. We've got, this is kind of an army green with like a greenish gold fleck. Aren't these cool? And then if you want like a neutral, this is actually kind of a beige. It's hard to see with the light. A beige with a gold fleck. So, I mean, I could just sit here all day and show you all of these yummy, yummy combinations. It's just so neat. I've never seen anything like it. It's so cool. Okay, who else gets geeked out about thread? Is it just me? All right, so for the embroidered bag that I just showed you, I wanted to show you how I achieved the perfect placement of the embroidery on the bag, because placement is 90% of the battle when we're doing machine embroidery, right? There's nothing worse than your design stitching out and being just slightly off center or just slightly crooked. And I mean, are you going to restitch it out, or do we just go with it? It's, you know, things like that can be so disappointing to a project. So perfect placement really is key. Now, I am always a proponent of embroidering first, cutting second. All right. That way, if you do happen to misalign your design, you can shift your pattern piece and recut it so that it is perfectly straight on. Now, the thing about this mandala design is it's a circle. So you're not going to have the problem of it being, you know, slightly off as far as corner to corner goes. However, you do want it to be right in the middle of that cork fabric border. So what I did was I stabilized my fabric with Fuse and Stitch. It's a fusible stabilizer that's going to then also act as interfacing for the bag, giving it that nice structure. And then I just placed that cork fabric on top of my embroidered fabric, or my fabric to be embroidered, so that I would have a placement guide for my hoop. Then I marked where I wanted my design. Okay, you can mark just a big X using your hoop markings as your guide, and then you'll know what your hoop center is. Then just place your design directly in the center of your hoop, and you're good to go. Now, after marking, excuse me, I have to look at very, very small icons. There's the finished design close up so you can really see. After marking, then you just replace your cork strip underneath and then cut out your pattern piece. That way, if there was any shifting or you hooped it a little bit off, there's no harm, no foul, because you haven't cut out that piece yet. So In almost every case, you'll want to get a little bit extra fabric for what you're embroidering, just to take into account if you have to recut something or reposition something and give yourself a little bit more fabric when you're hooping it. Okay, I got a little bit out of order, I think, but anyway, there's our finished bag again. All right, someone is asking if I have pictures of the markings that I made. I did not upload the picture of the markings, but what I did was I marked from that top center hoop marking down to the bottom, and then marked from my left hoop marking over to the right, and then I had an X in the hoop. Now you can also print a template of your design, place it on top of your fabric to be embroidered, and then when you go hoop it, make sure that your template is centered using those cross marks, and then you'll have no markings on your fabric to get rid of later. Another great idea is to use Sulky Sticky Fabri-Solvy, one of my favorites, or Sulky Stick and Stitch, and print out your embroidery template right onto the stabilizer sheet. Then cut it out, place it on the right side of your fabric. You can actually sew right through it if you need to. But then you have a sticky template you can use a few times before it loses its stickiness. And I like using that as well. Then you don't have any markings that you have to get rid of after the fact. All right, so let's go over our Scarlet Bag, which is the first bag that I showed you from our webinar. Now, I love this bag for embroidery too because this flap gives you a great spot for embroidery. Again, this would be a really great spot for a monogram or a letter. And it's a little magnetic snap, so it works great. There's a little pocket inside of this tote. It's a little hard to see. And you'll just use your favorite lining fabric for your cork. All right, so I like the subtlety of a tone-on-tone Polystar on this cork, so that's what I'm going to show you. But of course, you could go outside of the box and do, you know, your favorite color of Polystar, like an orange with gold flecks in it. That's another one that's perfect for Halloween. Something that is more silvery with the silver flecks would be really pretty as well. All right, so for embroidering that flap, I used Sulky Sticky Plus. Now this is another one of my favorite stabilizers to use, and it's 50% off right now. 50% off Sulky Sticky Plus. If you love this stabilizer as much as I do, stock up on it today. It is 50% off. Now, this is the stabilizer that we recommend for what I call hoopless embroidery. When you cannot embroider the fabric, or excuse me, you cannot hoop the fabric without getting hoop burn, or perhaps the fabric is too thick to fit in a hoop. You're going to hoop only the stabilizer and then stick your fabric to it. So that's what I did with the cork, because I didn't want to mar the cork, and the cork is just too thick to accommodate the hoop. You would get distortion. So I stuck the flap piece directly to the Sticky Plus and then cut it out after embroidery. So I'm going to show you the steps that I went through to do that, and hopefully they are still in order. All right. So here I have the Sticky Plus, and you can see that cardinal red cork, right? That is what I used for the cardinal hobo bag. That's what we have, the limited stock of the kits available. It's a beautiful, beautiful cork fabric. So I've got my Sulky Sticky Plus. It actually says on the stabilizer, hoop this side up. So you know to hoop that paper side facing up, okay? Then you're going to remove the paper inside of that inner hoop ring. And to do that, you simply take a pin and run it around the inside of the hoop very gently. And it's just going to score the paper, not the stabilizer, so that you can lift it up and remove it. Now you have exposed the sticky surface of the stabilizer and you can stick your fabric to it. So here I have my flap piece stuck to my stabilizer, the right side up. Now, what I did, let me see if I can show you in this picture. There we go. What I did was I cut a rectangle a little bit larger than my flap piece so that, like I said earlier, if my design is slightly askew, slightly crooked, I can reposition and recut it without having to lose any of my cork fabric. If you are working with a little bit larger design or smaller design, you may want to cut a little bit bigger of a flat piece just to give yourself a little extra assurance for cutting that out when you're finished. So I just placed my flat piece over the top of my cork that is stuck into the hoop, stuck to the stabilizer in the hoop, to make sure that when I placed my design on the screen, it was going to embroider where I wanted it to. Does that make sense? So in the case of this flap, you can see that some of my design is going over to the back. Not much, but some of it. And I actually like that look, that the design kind of peeks over the front. Now, if you want to place yours a little bit lower, closer to that top stitching, you certainly can. You can either, again, print a design template and place it over the top of your tab piece. Then when you have everything hooped, make sure that your needle is going to start in the center of that design. Okay, and that's how you can check your perfect placement. Then once you have it correct, when your hoop's on the machine, just remove both of those template pieces and embroider away. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about that, I can go over it again, so let me know in the comments. All right, so then we start embroidering. And you can see that my cork piece is not going anywhere. It is stuck to the stabilizer so well, I don't need to do any basting stitches. And in fact, I don't want to, because any holes in that cork are going to be permanent. So if you do a baste in the hoop function, some of those stitches could interfere with your tab piece, and then you would have unfortunate stitching lines or holes forever on your tab. So trust that Sticky Plus. It is good, good stuff. Again, 50% off, so definitely take advantage of that. And here you can see my finished design. Now, this is the Polystar. It is, like I said, I used tone on tone because I wanted the sparkle to be really subtle. Let's see if I can do an extreme close-up. Oh, that's as big as it gets. Sorry. But I've got another photo of it. And this is a built-in design that I used from the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. It was a built-in design, and it was actually meant to sew out in like 4 or 5 different colors, and I just used the one color for the entire design. And I really love the way that it turned out. So here we have the back of that design. Now, you can see I also used the Polystar in the bobbin for this, and that's simply because I was doing it as a test. It was one of my tests where I used Sulky bobbin thread as well as the Sulky Polystar in the bobbin. This is the Polystar in the bobbin. If I was going to use Sulky bobbin thread, I would have gone with the black bobbin thread because there is like a fabric coating kind of stuff on the back side of this cork fabric, and since it's black, I would want my bobbin thread to match that. So you can see the Sticky Plus, even though it is sticky, it tears away quite easily from the wrong side of your embroidery. So you just gently tear away the excess, and I did not worry about going in there and picking out all those little pieces inside of those little stitches. I just left it alone because, again, this bag is going to have great structure, and the addition of that stabilizer inside those tiny little stitches is not going to mess with the hand of the fabric or the pliability of my bag. So I left that alone. All right, so then I just put that flap pattern piece over my rectangle of fabric, making sure that my embroidery design was nice and straight and centered. And you can see the top of my flap piece, it has quite a bit of fabric there, and that is to account for where it connects here, okay? So I left a good amount, including my seam allowance where my raw edge is folded under with the lining there, free of embroidery. So that's why it doesn't look centered on the flap, but it's going to be positioned where I want it to be on the bag. And then there is the finished cardinal red hobo bag. So you can see it looks exactly like my charcoal version, just in a different colorway. So I just love it. I love cork fabric so much. It is so easy to sew, and you don't have the bulky problems that you would have with, say, a leather or a even some of the duck or heavyweight canvas fabrics have. It's really pliable and buttery, and it just feels great. It's a really, really great vegan alternative to a leather bag. So that is the process I used for embroidering cork, embroidering with Polystar. Now, you can certainly also use Polystar for other things. Like I showed you just the top stitching on that bag. You don't have to have an embroidery machine to appreciate and love this thread. It being a 30 weight thread, like I said, you can also use it for quilting. So I have a really cool project in the works. The reason I keep looking down is because it's on the floor of my sewing room right now. I will be unveiling that in the next couple of weeks, so you will get to see it. But it's a really cool combination of several of my favorite things. Pom-pom trim, because I am still obsessed with it. Polystar, and interestingly enough, double gauze fabric. So I will let you all imagine what that project's going to turn into, and I will show it off in the next few weeks. So I am going to address some questions. Linda says, did you say the Polystar was in the bobbin? Yes. For that example that I showed you with the red tote bag, I used the Polystar in the bobbin because I was testing it out. Now, if you are not going to see the wrong side, you may certainly use Sulky Bobbin Thread in the bobbin. Again, 50% off right now. If you are going to see the other side of your embroidered goodie, or if you are sewing a quilt, quilting a quilt, use it in the bobbin. It works great. Wind your bobbin a little bit slowly just because it does have that metallic in it, and you'll have great success with it. Mary is asking, I really liked the lining fabric that says love. Where did you get that? So this is what she's talking about. Here's the lining fabric that I used. I actually got that on Spoonflower. And if you search their Valentine prints, I believe you'll still be able to find it there. Okay, Diana says, are you able to use this thread to embroider on thicker material, such as toweling or minky? Yes, you can. I would choose a less dense design, simply because that's what I recommend for any toweling and any minky, unless it's an applique kind of design and there are smaller elements that have a lot of fill stitches. But if you're going with a monogram design, something that has some open work. I apologize, my computer is dinging. I'm trying to silence that. It'll work great. Because it is 30 weight, I would look for designs first that are digitized for 30 weight thread. A design that's digitized for 40 weight, if you do happen to use a 30 weight thread, you could have issues where there's too much thread used to fill a certain area, and it's either going to be a little bit bumpy, or you might have some thread issues along the wrong side. But I find if I'm using like a red work design or a running stitch design, that a 40 weight thread, or excuse me, a 40 weight design will work with this 30 weight thread, but you really need to test it and be sure. If you are using a design that is not digitized for 30 weight, definitely do a test. Do a portion of the design if it's a large scale and see how the thread is performing before you go onto your finished project. And I have to get my dog off of my in-progress work here, so bear with me a moment. Come on. Why is it that our puppies want to sit on the exact thing that we're working on? I mean, it drives me nuts. All right. Stay over here. Stay over here. Okay. All right. Now she's going to be knocking down my lights. All right. Debbie is asking, is the thread on sale? It is not on sale because we're just debuting it today, but I will say the Sulky Poly Deco is on sale right now. Poly Deco is what I used to construct these bags, okay? Poly Deco is a 40 weight, so it's a little bit lighter weight, and it works great for things like bags, for things like home decor, for construction seams. Polyester thread, it's very strong. It comes in tons of different colors, and that is also what is included in the red version of this bag kit. Now my dog's trying to leave and knocking things over. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. She's back. All right. So Poly Deco thread on sale. Polystar not on sale. Okay. All right. Deborah says, where do you know or find 30 weight digitized patterns? So whenever you're looking for embroidery designs, always look in the description to see what thread it is digitized for. Most, if not all, digitizers will say, this is a thick or fur or heavyweight design. Those are typically 12 weight. A 30 weight design should say this is digitized for 30 weight thread. For example, the freebie that we are giving you today, which is this mandala design, this is digitized for 30 weight thread. You could use the Polystar, you could use 30 weight cotton, you could use the Sulky 30 weight Blendables, and that would be beautiful because our Blendables are randomly dyed different colors along the length of the thread. So you'd get a really, really pretty look that changes colors throughout this design if you use the 30 weight Blendables. Now, typically designs are digitized for 40 weight rayon or 40 weight polyester. It's kind of like the default of digitizers, but there are some specialty designs digitized for 30 weight. A lot of quilting motif designs, if you like to quilt in the hoop, I find that a lot of those are digitized for 30 weight, and a quilting motif would look really, really pretty on that bag. So just make sure to do your homework, make sure to look at the digitizer's recommendation. A lot of the times it'll be on the color sequence chart, and sometimes those are available whether or not you purchase the design, so you can kind of see what threads you need and what thread it's digitized for. And if you can't find that information anywhere, send a note to the digitizer. Instant message them, email them, say, can I use 30 weight for this design? And they'll be able to tell you. Carmen says, can you use the bobbin thread with the metallics? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. A lighter weight bobbin thread is going to work great for machine embroidery with these. Pam says, where can we get the bag pattern? The holly bag, this one, holly bag pattern is available at sulky.com. I linked to it in the description of the post, so you can get that one there when you're picking up your Polystar thread. This is called the Scarlet Bag. This is a Sulky exclusive that was designed by Sally Tomato. Right now, it's only available with the purchase of that kit. So that's how you get the Scarlet Bag pattern. Now, this bag is just a series of rectangles. It's actually not a pattern that you would need to cut out. You just need to make sure you pay attention to all the rectangles that you need to cut and kind of write them down or mark them on each piece, because it has an included inside padded pocket so you can slip your laptop in there, and an inside zipper pocket. So a bunch of rectangles were used in the creation of this bag, and you can find the directions for this for free at the Sulky blog, blog.sulky.com. Just search for metallic tote and you'll find the directions for this. I also demoed part of this bag on It's So Easy on PBS. Let me know if you guys watched that show. Give me a thumbs up. It was, I want to say last spring, this episode was on It's So Easy. And I really was demoing the purse feet, and I was demoing the top stitching, because as you know, on that show, you only get 5.5 minutes to do your demo. So I had all these step outs to do this bag, and the producer said, let's focus on the purse feet and let's focus on the top stitching. So it became a little bit hard to follow. How does this come together? So I did a full blog post at sulky.com to guide you through the steps of making that particular tote bag. Okay. Melissa says, I wish the hobo bag was in the hoop. I hate sewing, but I love embroidery. Isn't that true? Our embroidery designs are so awesome. And in the hoop projects allow us to do so much more accurate and professional looking sewing, because we're really just placing fabrics when our machine tells us to. And I absolutely love in the hoop projects as well. All right. If you have questions, be sure to put them in the comments so I can address them. Lynn says, I'm an embroidery machine newbie, and this info is so helpful. Thank you, Lynn. I hope you enjoy. Whether you are a beginner, expert, or advanced embroiderer, I highly suggest you add a little bit of metallic sparkle to your projects. It just adds that much more fun and personalization to all the designs that you're creating. I think you'll really love it. Lisa is asking, can you use 40 weight thread in 30 weight designs? So you can, and it depends on the type of design. So if it is a design that has a lot of fill stitches, meaning there's an area completely filled in with stitches, like as if you colored it with a marker. If you use a lighter weight thread than what the digitizer has recommended, it's not going to fill that area in the same way that a thicker thread would. All right, so you might have some spaces in that filled area that are not taken up by thread, and that might not bother you at all. So for example, if you want to use this 30 weight design, this mandala design from Sulky, but all you have is 40 weight thread, that is a straight stitch design. It doesn't have any fill stitches. So you would be able to do that. It's just not going to be as pronounced, because the 40 weight, it's not going to disappear on your fabric. In short, I'm saying it will work, okay? But you might find that you want a little bit thicker thread for it. I hope that answers your question. Little convoluted. Okay. I want to make sure I am addressing everyone's question. Oh, and yes, Flo is commenting about my dog. She sometimes makes an appearance down here, even though she's technically not allowed. But let's be real. Our pets go everywhere. Okay. What needle do you recommend for metallic thread? Okay, so for the projects that I showcased, these cork totes, I recommend a 9014 top stitch needle. And I linked to our organ needles in the description of today's post so you could navigate there no problem. And the reason I use that, the 9014 is going to give you a little bit larger of a needle hole so that any friction created by the high speed of your embroidery, the thread's going to be able to, or the needle eye is going to be able to accommodate the movement of that thread. You can also try using a metal needle, but I find with the Polystar, because it has that polyester in it, you don't necessarily need the metal needle. It sews fine with a metal needle though, and I experimented with it on the top stitching of this tote. And you can see it sewed perfectly equidistantly spaced nice stitches and went through the layers of that cork very, very easily. Now, this is not a raw edge of cork. This is actually a seam. And then it's pressed down towards the cork. So it's going through tons of layers right there, really thick layers. And the top stitch needle just does a great job of going through all of those layers with great results. Okay. Let's see other questions. Karen is asking, do they only come in the small spools? So yes, right now the Polystar is only available on the small snap spools. All right, there's 290 yards of thread on here. So you're going to want to get so many colors, let me just tell you. So great. Okay. Barbara says, I've never tried metallic in the bobbin, too afraid. Now I will definitely give it a try. Yes, if you have been afraid of using any metallic threads, definitely this Polystar is for you. Amy is asking, can you get these in stores? Right now, you can get the Polystar at Sulky.com. It's so brand new that it is not in stores yet. So you guys are getting a, not really a sneak peek, but first dibs, I'll say. First dibs. Can I use Polystar for freestanding lace designs? That would be so pretty. To be very transparent and honest with you, I have not tried it for that, but I am definitely going to now that you say that, because that would make a very pretty like snowflake ornament, something like that for the holidays. These are great for Halloween, for Christmas, for holiday designs. So I'm gonna give it a try. I like to use Ultra Solvy for freestanding lace designs. And paired with the Polystar, I'm thinking it would be great. You also want it in the bobbin. I would slow things down just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to give it a try, but just to be honest, I have not quite yet. All right, lots of questions about bobbin thread. So again, with the embroidery, you can use Sulky bobbin thread, which is half price right now, or you can use the Polystar in the bobbin if you are going to see the wrong side. All right. Someone else is asking, how much are they? What do they cost? So these little puppies are $4.69, $4.69 a spool. And again, our giveaway today, for those of you who like the Sulky page, for those of you who comment, share, otherwise engage with today's post, you will be eligible to win this little giftie. It's going to be 6 spools of the Polystar. You won't know which colors you're going to get until they arrive, but you will be able to play around with these, and I know you guys will have lots and lots of fun with it. I also wanted to mention, because I got an email about this earlier today, I used this cutie little quilt block scissor charm in one of my videos that is on YouTube. If you've never checked out the Sulky YouTube page, we've got a lot of great videos there for you to watch. I also post all of the So What videos there, so if you happen to miss one, we're on episode, I want to say 37 is today, so there's a lot out there. Check out our YouTube page and you can always see them. But I use this little scissor charm to differentiate my scissors from paper and fabric for when I'm cutting out patterns, because I have a lot of scissors that look the same. Also, this helps you identify your scissors if you're going to classes, things like that, which unfortunately we're not doing right now. But at any rate, there are only 2 of these left. So if you were interested in this, if you were one of the ones who emailed me about this on YouTube, there's only 2 of these guys left. So add it to your cart and make sure you get it if you were one of the ones who wanted this little guy. Once they're gone, they're gone. So only 2. All right. Wanted to get that out of the way before I forgot about it. I've got some more. Gloria says, again, tell where we can get the rectangle bag. All right, so this is the bag that is made up of a series of rectangles. It's got some side gusset rectangles. This big rectangle is actually one big rectangle that you create by piecing together the cork with the metallic linen. And then there's rectangles inside too. We've got this nice zipper pocket, as well as a padded pocket so you can slip your laptop in. This is on the Sulky blog, blog.sulky.com. And I also showcased this on an episode of It's So Easy on PBS. If you go to the It's So Easy page, you can find the video of me demoing part of this bag. So that's where you can get instructions and all the rectangles that you need for that. All right. Mary is asking, where do we get the cork? So if you are interested in the Scarlet Bag, the cardinal version of the Scarlet Bag, let me show you that one here. That's the cardinal version. We still have kits of this available. So you'll get the cork, you'll get the Polystar, you'll get all the hardware that you need. You'll get your stabilizer that is used also for the embroidery. Actually, you'll get the stabilizer that is used for the interfacing of the bag, the fuse and stitch that I linked to in today's post. There's a lot included in this kit, and you'll get this special cardinal cork fabric in with it. There's only 10 kits available, so that's where you can get that particular cork. As far as the other metallic cork, Sally Tomato has a great selection of cork. Also, Fabric Funhouse is another good source for cork fabrics. I will say it is on the expensive side of things. Sally Tomato does a really great job of kitting up her cork fabrics with certain projects so that there is no waste, so that you are not overbuying, because it is on the expensive side. So take a look at the hobo bag kit that we have, because I think you'll find once you start adding things to your cart that that's a really great deal. So you'll want to grab that if you love that red version. And I'm sorry, I keep showing that cardinal one, or excuse me, I keep showing the charcoal one, but the cardinal one is the one that we have in stock, this one right here. Okay, lots of questions today. Thank you so much. Amy says, cork is such a great complementary fabric. I really love this trend of cork fabric. It is so easy to sew, and it really, really takes a homemade bag to the next level. I mean, people just really don't believe that I've sewn these bags myself. They just look really, really professional. Could you make a bag with canvas? Certainly. Any of these bags I showed, you could eliminate that cork and use canvas or a home decor heavier weight fabric. And actually, this metallic linen that I paired with the cork is rather lightweight, but you would never be able to tell because I used the Sulky Fusion Stitch as the interfacing. And I interfaced the outside as well as the lining portion of this bag. And that way, it kind of matches the weight of the cork underneath. And you can see because of these purse feet that it totally stands up on its own. So I love that. Interfacing, using stabilizers as interfacing so that you can make lighter weight fabrics heavier weight so that you can create structure in bags, so that you can create a base for a bag. Great, great ideas and ways to use stabilizer. You know, they're not just for machine embroidery, so they are important things to have in your sewing arsenal. Valerie says there are over 50 colors of the Polystar. Yes, there are. Look at all these. It's going to be hard to choose just one, I guarantee you. All right, John and Evelyn, excuse me, can I put a zipper on the top of the bag? You might be referring to this bag. You could add a zipper tab kind of deal. Certainly. You can make any pattern your own. If you want a zipper on the top, put a zipper on the top. Absolutely. All right. Carmen says, I'm new to this. What is Sally Tomato? Sally Tomato is actually Sallie Tomato, and it's a company that produces really great bag patterns. We partnered with them on, this webinar that we did, the Hobo Cork Bag webinar. You can still access this for free at sulky.com on our webinars page. And like I said, we still have a few kits available in the red colorway. But Sally Tomato designed this bag pattern for Sulky. And the Holly bag is also from Sally Tomato, but it's available at sulky.com. So you can grab up this bag pattern when you are grabbing up all of your great, yummy colors of Polystar. And be sure to grab your Fusion Stitch interfacing and also your Sticky Plus if you plan on doing embroidery on the cork, since you cannot hoop the cork. All right, Fran got herself the Cardinal bag. I'm so excited for you. You're gonna love it. Like I said, these are like my 3 go-to bags right now. I like a good size bag. The Cardinal one is just like a shoulder bag style, and these other ones are quite a bit larger. If you're anything like me and you're carrying 3 kids worth of stuff at any particular time. So yeah. How does the thread work on real leather? I have not tried it on real leather. I have tried it on faux leather, and it works great. It works just like it works on the cork. So I have not tried it on real leather. I don't sew real leather really at all. I just don't have access to it, and I would rather go with the faux stuff. It's cheaper, it's easier to obtain, that type of thing. So just, do a test on a tiny, tiny little piece so that there's no waste. before you go sewing your actual project. Okay, what is the name of the pattern for the red bag with the brown bottom? All right, so this one is the holly bag, and this is at sulky.com. It's a paper pattern that you can get, and it does not have this little cork fob on it. That's just an addition that I added, but it does have a really nice adjustable strap. And I have never made an adjustable strap before, and now that I did once, I'm going to do it all the time. So you can adjust this, providing you have the right hardware, and make it smaller or larger depending on the day, depending on the mood, depending on the hour. And I really like that about this bag. I also like that it's just a nice size. It holds a lot of stuff. It has a magnetic closure. It has a zipper pocket. And it has another pocket as well that I divided into two so that my phone would fit on one side and other things on the other. Another really great thing about this bag is you actually turn it all right side out through the inside zipper. Through this inside zipper. That's how everything comes right side out. So you don't have a raw edge on the outside or in the lining that you have to hand sew at all. You turn everything right side out through that zipper pocket, then you sew the bottom of your zipper pocket shut, stuff it inside, and it's finished. I absolutely love how this bag is constructed. So I think that you will too. It's actually the second holly bag I've made. Once you make one, you're addicted and you need to make more. Okay. Love the free design, love working with cork. There's so many colors. Yes, again, I just want to show you for those of you joining late, because I've gotten some comments that people just joined. This is our free mandala design, and it's available at sulky.com. Under our resources page, you'll see a link for free projects, and you can download this in the format that you need for your machine. It's a design digitized for 30-weight thread, so it's perfect for this brand new Polystar thread that we are debuting today. Any color will do. Again, here's my favorite for Halloween. It's a black thread with purple metallic flecks. Love it. You could also use this with 30-weight cotton, 30-weight Blendables, but it's just a really great design. And it's got little hearts in the center. It's got little leaves on the outside. Here you can see the large scale of this design. So I think you guys will really enjoy it. You can put it on a lot of things, and it's a great looking design for fall as we are approaching. Here it's 105 degrees. That's what it feels like, but it's really hot in most of the country right now, so it's hard to imagine that fall is approaching, but it is, and we need to get ready, and we need to create some fall-themed decor and things. All right, lots of questions today, so if I did not get to your question, keep in mind that after this airs live, I always go in and I address the questions that I wasn't able to get to during the live broadcast. So I will always ping you in the comments and reply to your question. If you have a more urgent question regarding the thread or an order that you would like to create, definitely email us at info@sulky.com and we are happy to assist you. Okay, Pam ordered it also. Right on, Pam. I think you'll love it. Donna is ready to stock up on the Polystar. Like I said, you're going to want it in every color. I mean, that's all I can say. All right. Marilyn says she's having a bad connection today. It keeps freezing. I usually get alerts on my end if my feed is freezing or breaking up and I haven't gotten an alert. It might be something with your internet connection, but just know that after the live event, this will go into our Facebook archives on our Facebook page, so you can start from the beginning. You can fast forward, you can catch things that maybe you didn't catch while it was live. And you can also go to our YouTube page, our Sulky of America YouTube page. We have a So What playlist, and you can go through and watch any of the ones that you've missed. Okay, Karen has a question about working with cork. She's tried cork in a couple of projects, not getting good results, using it for the bottom of coasters, hoping to make it so moisture doesn't leak through. Any hints? You know, I might go to the Sally Tomato folks and ask them, or ask the place that manufactured your cork. I don't know if it is an issue with the quality of the cork, because I know cork fabric really differs greatly in quality. Some places you can get it, it doesn't have that fabric backing, which Sally Tomatoes does have a really nice quality. It almost feels like felt along the back of the cork, and imagine that would give it more insulating properties. I'm not quite sure about the waterproof nature of things, but I know when we did our cork webinar that people were saying they had success with Scotch guarding it. It may slightly change the color of the cork. I'm not positive, so you'll definitely want to do your own tests on a little swatch and see what works for you. But I would try some of those things, and first off, make sure that your cork has that nice backing. Even if you are sewing with it and you don't need it to have water resistant properties or things like that, that backing is what's going to make sure your cork doesn't perforate when you're sewing it and embroidering it. It just gives it more of a substantial surface for all of those needle penetrations. So really, really keep an eye on that. And like I said, it is going to be more expensive because of that, but you're going to have greater success with it. It's going to last longer. So that's the most important thing. I would really, you know, I'll spend a couple more dollars per yard to make sure I'm going to have success sewing with something for sure. Helen asks, is the strap sturdy? I think she's talking about this cork strap. Now, this is actually a pre-made cork strap. You can make your own, and there are great directions in the holly bag pattern for making your own cork strap out of the cork yardage. But this actually was a pre-made cork strap that I had left over from a previous project, and it's basically like fused, and it has no raw edges, and it was made this way. So I just purchased cork strapping, and all I had to do was cut the length that I needed. And it is extremely durable. You could add top stitching, you could add embroidery to this, you could make this into a key fob. It's just a great resource. And this I found at Fabric Funhouse, the pre-made cork strapping. Okay. Linda is asking, it's not a kit. I'm not sure which bag you're talking about, so I'll just review it quickly. This is just the pattern. The bag pattern is the holly bag. That's what is available at sulky.com, along with your freebie design that you can use with the Polystar. This is available as a kit, but only in the red colorway. So this kit is available at sulky.com. And then the other bag that I showed, which is this big hefty tote, this is a freebie at the Sulky blog. So blog.sulky.com, just search for metallic tote, and you will find a list for all the rectangles to cut. All the supplies that you need are linked, so you can gather everything that you need to make this guy. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Maria. Maria likes the bag. Okay. Woo! 105 degrees in California. I'm telling you what. It's a hot, hot week around the country. Diana has a great idea for using that mandala design. She says it would look nice on the edges of a linen table runner with fall colors. Yeah, like I said, it would look really great with the Sulky 30-weight Blendables. And there are some wonderful options for fall-themed Blendables. The Blendables are the threads that randomly change color across the length of the thread every about 2.5 to 5 inches, so you never get a repeating pattern. They're randomly dyed, and you can find some really, really pretty ones for fall with oranges and yellows and browns and all those things that you want on your fall table. Carolyn says, what is the weight of the Polystar? It is a 30-weight thread, so it is just a dream to sew. I think you'll really, really like it. Will the mandala design fit on the hobo bag tab? No, it will not. So if I put them side by side, you can see how big the mandala design is versus how big this flap is. Now, if you have software, you could try to make this design much, much smaller, but it's going to have to go really small to fit on this flap and still have your edges free for your top stitching. Another option would be to embroider it down here on the corner of the bag and leave your flap free of embroidery. You certainly could add it here, or you could put it in the center, so when your bag is open, you see the whole thing. That would be really pretty. So I wouldn't really want to mess with trying to make it so small that it fits on this tab, because you might have some stitch density issues. Even if you're using software, it could go too small. It might look weird. Vicky says, where is the mandala? So at our free projects page at sulky.com, you will find the links for downloading the mandala design, and it is free only for a month. So from today until September, 18th, you can get that design for free. So make sure you get it today, save it onto your computer so you don't forget, and grab it while it's free. All right. I love how you all respond to each other and provide answers to questions when I'm not getting there. I so appreciate your help. We're all in this together, and it is a great community here at the Sulky So What page. So thank you. Oh, Kathleen wants to know, what is the number of the black with the purple so she can order it? Okay, this one is 965643. 643. That's the color of that one. Isn't it pretty? That would be really cool on some kind of Halloween table runner or Halloween quilt, or in our Halloween embroidery design palette, we have a little witch's hat embroidery design, and that would look so cute on the witch's hat. Love that. Linda has never made a handbag, everybody. Linda, we welcome. Make your handbag. Let us know how it goes. I'm so excited for you. All right, so there are just so many more questions that I will not be getting to today, but again, I will go through and answer your questions in the comments when we are done today. Woo, a whole slew of them just came in as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see what you create with your Polystar. If you do create something and share it on social media, be sure to add the hashtag SewBetterWithSulky. That way we can see what you're up to, and we can like and repost your photos, and we always love to see what you're creating with Sulky. So again, if I did not answer your question, please email us at info@sulky.com. And just to review, we are having a great half-off sale. So Polydeco, Sulky Sticky Plus, and a number of other items are half price today. Half price. So be sure to check out sulky.com, go shopping around, add to your cart, grab up some Polystar because you're going to love working with it. And again, love having you with me, and I will see you next time.